righteous. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to live our lives as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be pleased with all of us. From the previous few nights, we began a series on the Ahaadeeth related towards the Fadhaa'il and virtues of Masjid Al Aqsa. What are the virtues and what is the attachments that we have as Muslims to this sacred space itself? And we talked about this being amongst the earliest of the places, the first Qibla, hundreds and thousands of Anbiya being attached to Masjid Al Aqsa. So not just the geographic location of land and country or space, but there's a lot of spirituality that is connected to Masjid Al Aqsa, Jerusalem, and the Muslims, the believers. And there is a continuous attachment that should remain in our hearts towards this place. So tonight is our third hadith, and the hadith is وَنَبِي دَرْدَى رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فضل صلاتي في المسجد الحرام على غيره 100,000 صلاة وفي مسجدي 1,000 صلاة وفي مسجد بيت المقدس 500 صلاة رواه البيهقي في شعب الإيمان. The hadith is reported by Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, who reports and he mentions and relates that Rasulullah said that the reward of a prayer in Masjid Al-Haram in Mecca over the masjid itself, all the other masajid, is equivalent to 100,000 salah in reward. So the reward and ajr of Masjid Al-Haram in Kaaba, the ajr is 100,000 rewards. Just as a side note, there is one particular hadith where Rasulullah mentioned, it is the ajr or the reward of Haram itself, not only the salah, but any good deed that is performed in the vicinity of Haram of Makkah, the ajr is up to 100,000 rewards. So for example, one subhanallah equals 100,000 subhanallah. One alhamdulillah equals 100,000 alhamdulillah. And then imagine the amount of individuals, salawat congregation, how many it adds, right? As the hadith of Rasulullah mentions that, two people, making salah, is better than 4 people praying individually, and 4 people praying in Jamaat individually is better than 8 individuals, and 8 in Jamaat is better than 100 individuals. So imagine the amount of Haram, the hundreds and thousands of people collectively praying, and then on top of that, the ajr is 100,000 in the Haram itself. So inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us and gives us this opportunity to be in Haramain, in both Mecca and Medina Al Aqsa, to utilize those opportunities in every second and moment. So the Prophet ﷺ said, the reward of a prayer, the salah, in Masjid Al-Haram, Mecca over other masjids is equivalent to 100,000 salah in reward. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, and the prayer in my masjid, again, it is as though that Rasulullah is in Medina saying this to the Sahaba, that the prayer in my masjid, Masjid al-Nabawi, is equivalent to 1,000 salat. Of course, there are tradition where people say 50,000, but the most authentic riwayah and tradition is of 1,000 salah and reward in Masjid Nabawi. And then Rasulullah said, salah in Baytul Muqaddas, Masjid Al Aqsa, the Aqsa sanctuary itself, is equivalent to 500 salahs, 500 prayers itself. So as we know that these are the 3 maqamat and 3 places that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made sacred and muqaddas for the believers. A question that may be a little bit complicated at this moment to discuss, but inshallah, as we continue next week, we'll discuss a little bit more as we have a class now, inshallah, at 8:30. But the question is about the sanctity and safety of Haramain, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises the protection of the Kaaba and the protection of Masjid Nabawi, as they are the harams. They are considered to be haram, as Rasulullah said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Masjid Al-Haram sacred because of the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make Masjid Al-Nabawi sacred as well, muqaddas as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Medina as sacred as well. But as we know that Al-Quds itself is also sacred because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that in the Quran. So what about the safety of Al-Quds itself? And inshallah next week we'll get to more details of why it is known as Al-Aqsa, the faraway masjid, and the more details of it. But one point to remember, Shaykh Ashraf Ali Thanwi rahmatullah alayhi in his Tafsir Bayan al-Quran has mentioned that the promise of Masjid Baytullah, the Kaaba, and Masjid al-Nabawi will remain always with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect them irrespective of the condition of the Muslim Ummah. And Masjid Al-Aqsa will always be dependent upon the iman and the halat of the a'mal of the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is a larger thing for all of us to reflect upon, that the conditions will always be upon my amal, my action, my ta'alluq as an ummah at large, how connected we are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But inshallah, we'll discuss this much more in detail. But again, the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the salah in Masjid al-Haram is equal to 100,000, the salah in Masjid al-Nabawi is equal to 1,000, and the salah in Bayt al-Muqaddas, Masjid al-Aqsa, is equal to 500. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our haramain, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect Masjid al-Aqsa, and Allah will save our life from the Quran and the beautiful sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inshallah, at around 8:30, we'll begin our series on Usul Hadith, inshallah. The